I think one of the points of political science research is that a lot of times people have aspirations, right? That is, we might value, say, national reunification between North and South Korea, but that's something that just lives in the realm of hope. We need to understand the practical mechanics by which countries could, in principle, negotiate agreements with each other, in particular if there are reasons to think that those agreements might come with a great deal of difficulty. My name is Chad Rector. I'm a political science professor here at Marymount University. I've been here since fall 2011. My research in international relations is about how it is that countries sometimes are able to make agreements with each other, even in situations where at least one of them is untrustworthy. The relationship between North and South Korea is one where there's a lot of mistrust. Now, of course, from the American perspective, we often think of North Korea as being an especially untrustworthy country. But we should also recognize that from North Korea's perspective, South Korea might be extremely untrustworthy. South Korea is a flourishing democracy. Many people in South Korea are genuinely motivated by the idea that, at least over the long run, North and South Korea should reunify into one country, Korea. They look at what happened between East and West Germany in 1990, where the two halves of Germany came together and eventually, over the long run, became a prosperous and free democracy. And they say, well, why can't we have that in South Korea? And so even though we might not like trying to sympathize with the leaders of North Korea, we can at least empathize with them and understand how, from their perspective, making deals with a South Korean government is very dangerous because it puts them at risk that South Korea in the future might demand political changes or might even go as far as to use the leverage it has to punish North Korea's leaders for the kinds of genuinely horrible things that they've done in the past. And so one of the things that I'm working on with some South Korean collaborators is to figure out, are there conditions in which even countries like South Korea can make promises to countries like North Korea that making agreements for closer economic and political relationships won't be dangerous for the rulers of a small country like North Korea. And thinking through how it is that a democracy might be able to make that kind of commitment is the core of the project that I've been working on. The question is, how are we going to go about doing that? How is it that that could happen as a practical matter? Learn to empathize, that is to understand the perspectives and points of view with even those people that they might disagree with about important political or cultural or social issues, and then use that understanding of why it is that people are coming from the place that they're coming from in order to develop a fuller picture of how it is that our society works. And that if we want to change the way things work, we really need to start with a good understanding of what kinds of social institutions, with what kinds of political dynamics lead to the outcomes that they do.